What's up, everybody? Ryan Turford, the weatherman on the moose here, and the conversation you're about to watch with the Xbox Drive with Bobby from Console Creatures is an awesome one. I think it's a great conversation. We talk about all kinds of great stuff this episode, but the reason why you're seeing my face and, hearing me just on the camera by myself here before we go into it is because during the live stream of this particular episode, we ran into a bit of a technical snafu that kind of prevented the first 22 minutes of the show to totally not be seen on YouTube in video form. So what I've done actually is the first 22 minutes of this is just going to be audio only, but then you'll see our beautiful faces reappear kind of in the middle of the video, and you'll be able to see us talk about all kinds of awesome stuff. So again, this is just kind of cat's out of the bag kind of situation. Apologies for this. This is not the type of thing that usually happens, but I wanted to make sure that if y'all like to watch on YouTube, because I know a lot of you watch the Xbox Drive on YouTube. I want to make sure that y'all be able to watch this episode on the platform that you like. It just won't be video all the way through, so apologies for this. But anyways, let's get this show on the road.
No power greater than X.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 288 of the Xbox Drive. I am one of your hosts, the man on the moose, Ryan Turford, and I am joined for the very first time on the show by the console creature himself, Bobby from Console Creatures. Bobby, how you doing today, man?
I am fantastic. It has been a great week for games. So, really, how can we complain?
Yeah, absolutely. There's too many games out at this point. I mean, we've been spoiled for choice like the entire year, but it feels like we're coming to the big block. Like this
is the next hurdle.
Yeah. We're on the tipping point. Jedi Survivor is out. People are playing it. People are excited about it. And then, Redfall is going to be here next week. And then Zelda and Diablo and Street Fighter and Final Fantasy will all be here before we know it at this point.
I honestly, my biggest thing is where am I going to find the time? Because every game you mentioned, I want to play and I want to invest heavily. And so it's do I sleep or do I play games this time? Because really, we're at that time where the sun's out, so I can probably sacrifice a couple extra hours of sleep. Mm-hmm. So I guess it's really just comes down to, do I need 4 hours or 3 hours of sleep?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I'm excited.
Too, there's also, monetary values of which is going to be a topic later in the show. It's just one of those things where we can only buy so many games. So it's
only so many in Canada, especially. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Well, you brought it up, but it, of course, is an Xbox Drive tradition, as you may or may not know. We, of course, spend the first minute of the show talking about the weather. Oh my God, it's such a nice day out in Toronto today.
Honestly, this is a sunshine, beautiful day. It's just, I bask in this because in Canada, you know how bad it is when it's cold. It's just no, we need spring, we need summer, we need sun.
I mean, it's perfect 11 degrees Celsius out, so not too cold, but not too, not super warm out. We're not shorts and t-shirt weather, but it's nice, hoodie weather today. And I went for a nice walk today, and it was really good. It was good to be outside again today.
You're doing better than I am because I've been stuck inside an office all day, reading the news and getting everything ready for this amazing show we're gonna do today. Because I'm been stoked since you asked me, because this is the first time that I don't have to deal with court, and that was kind of the treat on top for me today.
I mean, you're gonna have to deal with him a little bit. He wrote in a question for the show.
I caught the question, and that's why I was like, oh God, we have to deal with him in some capacity today. But
it's fine.
We'll get to there.
We'll handle that together when we get there. But real quick before I clean the garage, of course, since this is the first time you've been on the show, honestly, I want you to just take the moment, just kind of let everyone know, first of all, what about Console Creatures, about the Creature Cast. I want you to promote yourself, just in case anyone in our community is maybe, hearing about, Console Creatures for the first time.
Yeah. So basically, we're just a independent Canadian media outlet. So we've been covering the games industry for, I'd say, about 10 years now. So you might know some of us: Steve Egvari, Dave Petrangelo, Dennis Price, Luke Williams. I mean, a great bunch of guys that are very passionate about the games industry and, covering all the big topics and making sure that we're delivering neutral quality content every day. So basically, yeah, I mean, if you want to know anything about the gaming industry, come check out Console Creatures. And we just launched a podcast about 6 months ago that's been really positively received within the community. And we're just continuing to put out episodes just like you guys and trying to do our best to just, make sure that there's a community that we're building so that we can have as many inclusivity within the company and the community. So, I mean, if you guys want to join us, feel free. Like, we're always welcome to see you guys there.
Absolutely. So crawlsandcreatures.com or the Creature Cast. It's on all the podcast services or YouTube. I know y'all started doing a video version pretty recently. So you can definitely go check that out as well on their channel. And I gotta say, I mean, you guys are like probably one of the biggest, if not probably the biggest independent games outlet in Canada. And it's always, I mean, you guys have great articles on your website and stuff. In fact, again, one of tonight's topics is actually inspired by something you guys wrote up earlier this week. So of course, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to make sure to have you on the show so we can talk about this, of course. Super fun.
It's a big topic in Canada. Like, I'm glad that surprisingly, well, I should say first, let's say I'm glad that we're talking about it, but I'm also surprised that not many people are covering it because like it is a big topic in Canada.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's something we actually talked about on a Yumi Capri episode, which is our monthly Patreon exclusive podcast back in January when a different game was coming out. So it's actually interesting now for us to finally talk about it on this podcast. But again, we're getting ahead of ourselves. We'll talk about that later. Of course, it's time to clean the garage and do all of course the carpool plugs. So folks, I know if you want to support the show, there's a number of awesome ways to do that. Number one, if you're watching the live stream right meow over at youtube.com/carpoolgaming, don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, because come on, what are you doing if you haven't subscribed yet? And of course, ring that notification bell to be notified whenever we go live with a live stream like this one, or whenever we put up a new video. Just like this weekend, Carpool Gaming Days is a thing. We announced it on Monday. It's going to be all day, Saturday and Sunday, right here, youtube.com/carpoolgaming. We're going to be talking about the future of carpool gaming. We're going to be having community games with you in the chat, as well as we're going to have community show takeovers, which we announced this week as well. So each of the 3 drive shows are being taken over by members of the community. So the Xbox Drive, as an example, will have an episode done by Skinny Matt and Dave Moore, the original co-host of the Xbox Drive, and all the other shows announced similar guests this week, plus a bunch of other surprises. Again, if you are new to carpool gaming, this is kind of a yearly thing for us where this is where we do all the big announcements for all the new content that's coming throughout the year and any changes we make to the Patreon and things like that. You're going to be able to hear about all that stuff on Carpool Gaming Day. So make sure to join us 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday this weekend, or, you can come a little bit early for the pre-show. It starts at 10:30. We're going to be playing some Mario Kart with the community, so come hang out with us all weekend long. Also, speaking of that, Patreon, if you want to support us and, maybe get some of our content a little bit early, or maybe some exclusive content, head on over to patreon.com/carpoolgaming. Throw a little tip in the old tip jar, just like Tim Aulph did, who actually became a gold member this week. So huge shout out to Tim for joining the Patreon. Tim, you rock. All right, without further ado, it is time to grab our 8-tracks, pop them in. It is time for the playlist, and we got things to talk about, or at least I know I've got some games on here, but Bobby, I know you probably can't talk too much about games you've been playing, right? It's just that time of year.
It's down to the wire. So playing a couple embargoed games, but I mean, of games I can talk about, I'm still wrapping up Dead Island 2. I'm trying to get into the pixel remasters. Like, I know you mentioned you're playing them, but like it's hard to go back to them when there's just so many games. But yeah, my main focus has been Dead Island 2. Just going back and doing a couple replays. It's such a great zombie game. I ended up liking it more than Dying Light 2, and that kind of shocks me because I mentioned in my review I love Dying Light. I think it was probably one of the best zombie games of all time, and then you get the sequel coming out, and it kind of just fell apart for me from the beginning. So I kind of just left it alone. But guys, if you haven't played Dying Light or Dead Island 2, go get it. I know it's a little bit pricey now, but when it's on a price drop, highly recommend it. It's probably one of the best games you'll play this year. Yeah.
I mean, and here's the thing about the pixel remasters. Part of the reason why I'm actually playing them right now as opposed to later is because Dead Island 2 was actually a game I kind of had it slotted in for this week because I was actually pretty excited about it. And as we'll talk about a little bit later, it is a little bit pricey right now, so it is kind of a wait on sale. And I'm just waiting for the other games to kind of come out. So here's what I've been playing. First off, Final Fantasy Pixel Remasters. I platinumed Final Fantasy 1, which was awesome. I had a great time kind of revisiting that. I'm playing through 2 right now, and that one's kind of like the weakest, I think, of all the older Final Fantasy games.
That's what I noticed too.
Yeah, but I'm still enjoying it. I actually think I'm enjoying it more now with the new coat of paint with the pixel remasters, plus the ability to kind of neutralize some of the grindiness by enabling some of the boosts. Like, I'm not using them to make the game easier. I just using them to, make the grind a little less tedious for those games. So I'm enjoying that, and I'll be continue to talking about them for the next couple of weeks. Or a little bit earlier today, I got a chance to check out The Last Case of Benedict Fox. It just came out today. It's in Game Pass. So if you're listening to this and you want to check this out, it's on Game Pass right now on PC and console. I played on PC because that's just where I'm seeming to play a lot of games now lately, which is just weird to say, because I've been so kind of not into PC games for the longest time. And I've been enjoying it so far. I'm only an hour in. It's this Metroidvania game where you play as a detective who has supernatural kind of eldritch powers. He is going into the memories of his father to try and, unravel this big case and kind of solve this mystery surrounding why he has these powers that he has, because apparently he's had them for a very long time. So I love kind of the mystery it's building, but also I like the Metroidvania aspects of it as well. Like it's focused on melee combat, where you kind of build up a combo meter that then allows you to shoot your gun, which is very powerful. Like it one-shots pretty much any of the normal enemies, and then deals a lot of damage to some of the bosses. And you get different powers along the way and stuff as you would in kind of any Metroidvania. So it's a game that I was actually looking forward to a lot when we saw it first last summer at the Xbox showcase, and I gotta say I'm having a lot of fun with the full game, so I think I'm gonna stick with it. So I'll talk about it probably more on next week's show as I get much further. And again, it just came out this afternoon, so I'm only an hour in. And the last game I want to talk about, because this is, Xbox adjacent because this is on PC, Honkai Star Rail, of course, came out this week. This is the new game from Mihoverse, the company that does the Genshin Impact games. And I was excited to check this one out, being, a big RPG fan, and I love turn-based RPGs, and knowing that it's a game from them that isn't like a big action RPG, that's not an open world game. It's like a very linear turn-based game. I was actually really excited about this one. Tried it out over the weekend and really, really enjoyed what I played. But I actually tweeted about this. There's actually a big kind of problem with the PC release, where if you want to play with controller on PC, there are literally no accessibility functions in the game. So you're not able to invert your controls. There are really no accessibility options of any kind in this game, which, for a modern 2023 game, that really hurts to see, because I'm someone who can't really play 3D games while controlling the camera without inverted controls. I just can't do it. It breaks my brain. So unfortunately, as much as I'm enjoying Honkai Star Rail, and as much as I like the fast-paced turn-based combat that they have there, I just have to put this one down until they add some of those features, whether it's in a patch later, or I know they'll have this in the PS5 version when that releases, because they've already mentioned that. So I imagine maybe that's what I wait for at this point. But, that's a game that I think RPG fans, I know a lot of our RPG fans in the community are talking about that game. And I know it's pretty awesome. So I'm excited to get to it eventually when they fix some of this stuff.
I have it on my phone. I think I spent about 10 minutes with it, but then it's just like, I want to play it on a big screen on my console. So it's like, do I just splurge now and play and get involved, or do I just wait and just enjoy the experience when it's fresh on PlayStation? And I'm hoping they add like the accessibility features and the haptics. I play games for that stuff. Like I love the bonuses they add to it. So it's like, I love playing on my phone, but it's like, do I want to side? Do I want to wait? It's just like it's a risk and reward thing for me. It's like, do I just risk it now?
Yeah.
Or wait 5 months? But because it looks incredible. All the trailers have looked so good. I didn't really get into Genshin Impact. I played it for a couple of months and then dropped it. But then this one comes along and it just blew my mind. It's like, this is way more in tune with what I prefer in RPG. So it's like, it's it's that too many games situation again. And go figure, it's free. So it's like, I'm struggling with it even more.
Yeah. But one of the nice things is, again, because now that there are a lot of games out right now, you can wait with something like that. And there will be a whole bunch of stuff added to the game by the time you actually do pick it up. So this is one where I'm actually like okay with waiting. It's just because I'm not picking up Dead Island, and I've already decided I'm not picking up Jedi Survivor either right away. Like that's probably a wait for sale too for me. That's, between those two at this point, like I know Redfall, we're going to be playing it next week. So, that's kind of the next big game for me at this point. So
that's exactly the thing. And it's just like prioritizing what you want to play. So like so with Jedi Survivor, we heard the reviews, and I'm playing through it right now, and like I kind of see what they're talking about. So it's like I see the issues, the performance. It's like I can wait 6 months. I can wait.
Yeah.
When it's more primed and ready, and then Redfall. I don't know how I feel about it. I'm still torn because the 60 frames per second kind of really bugged me. Mm-hmm. And then today you're seeing like the case actually is promoting 60 frames per second on the back with a sticker saying like it'll come post launch.
Yeah, I love the sticker and just how like
I just don't get that.
Oh my god,
it's so like good. It's like your biggest feature is 60 frames per second to me. I mean, like that's why I want to play on Xbox. It's always it's got the power, it's capable. Why aren't they having it at launch? And like that kind of just like put me on the path to waiting. It's like I have Minecraft Legends I'm still playing. I have the embargo game I'm playing. So like that's taking up all my time. But like I would like to be pulled away from that. And unfortunately Redfall just couldn't do it for me. So I'm gonna wait and see what's happening with it. And if it turns out being, something I have to play now, I'll suck it up and play it in 30 frames because like I don't know. We're in that age. We don't need 30 frames per second. It doesn't really.
Oh, that's true. That's why I'm actually like again, I'm actually very thankful that I got a gaming PC fairly recently because they just posted the ultra stats for it, and I'm like, my computer matches all of that. I'm so ready to play that, at ultra 60 frames per second. Like that is going to be the way that, that type of experience we should have on Xbox. That we're not unfortunately getting at launch.
And then I have to get a new PC. I mean, I have a Steam Deck, but like there's no way a Steam Deck can run that at 60 frames. So it's like my PC's old. I'm kind of stuck. So it's like, I'll wait.
Yeah.
We have so many things. Like I have The Last King, the Benedict Fox. After Image just came out, there's the Bramble, the Mountain King coming out. There's so many games that I want to play. It's like there's always priority. So it's like Bethesda, Arcane, I love you guys, but yeah, I gotta wait on this one. Sorry.
Yeah. No, and sometimes you might just want to bust out your favorite Heroes in a Half Shell. Just, I have a copy of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3: The Manhattan Project just sitting on my desk. Just cuts.
Iconic game. I think it's great. One of the best Ninja Turtles games. I will not take any other opinion on that one.
Absolutely.
I love the Manhattan Project.
Actually, yeah, exactly. So there you go. That's what we've been playing this week. But let's slam the brakes on this conversation because it's time for some breaking news. And we're going to do breaking news a little bit different this week because we have two kind of big topics we're going to get to after kind of our news stories. But I want to talk about, a couple of these first. So first off, this is actually really interesting. Microsoft have announced 5 limited edition Redfall controller designs that are now available via Xbox Design Labs. These controllers can be fully customized the same way that other Design Lab controllers are. No word yet as to how long these are going to be available on Design Labs. But the reason I found this interesting is normally this is the type of thing that we've actually seen Microsoft not sell. Like they've usually been used for promotions, whether you can win one or you get one sent in the press, like Space Jam controller I got back here that we were
sent. I have
sent.
those ones too.
Yeah.
I have where's mine?
It's probably in the other room. But yeah, so I
got my Forza controller. Like I love this controller. Like these are why I love Xbox. Like their controllers are my favorite. But yeah.
So they don't do this type of thing that often. So I thought this was really cool because first off, we have the ability to, fully customize these controllers if we want them. We can, add all the different, accoutrements if we want them. But also I just like that they're making them available to the public. Cause again, this is not something that like they've been toning down the special edition controllers that they've been, selling this generation for whatever reason or other. The Forza one was really one of the only ones we've gotten. So I'm actually glad that they're doing this type of thing. So I'm hoping this type of thing is something they're going to continue to do. What do you think about this though? Have you seen some of these controller designs? Are you interested in them at all?
I personally think it's a great idea. I mean, like really the controllers, it serves one purpose, but I mean, that's where the personality shines in. Like I might say on the page, I don't know if everyone pulls it up, but like there's one controller in particular. It says it's like that purple and blue one. I love that, and it shows personality. It's like I like to. I mean, we should be able to express ourselves to our consoles. So like when I was a kid, I would throw stickers on my Wii. I put like monster stickers on it, and that was just me expressing myself. But now in an official capacity where Xbox is like, hey, we'll just do that for you. We'll offer you, these custom theme controllers. I think it's a brilliant idea. I mean, people love this stuff. That's their bread and butter. I think that's one of the biggest things I liked about the 360 when you could buy remember the exclusive, I think they're the console covers. Like those are great.
Yep. The face
stuff like that is brilliant. It's like it's simple marketing. It doesn't affect the system. It's just a way to personalize your console. If you're going to be using it all the time, why not? Put your own little signature on it, little flair.
Well, the funny thing is we're actually seeing that more from Sony with the faceplates that they have. In fact,
that's what's blown my mind.
Did you see the Final Fantasy 16 ones?
I did. I didn't like them. They're so basic. It's just they slapped the logo on a black cover plate. I could do that. I actually think it would be better if the logo that they slapped on it was way bigger. If it covered like half the plate or a lot of the plate. Like I feel like it probably would have, popped more. Versus the logo is like this big and the rest of the case is like yay That's
high.
exactly it. It's lost real estate. It's just a little logo on the side. And then I saw the controller. I'm not a fan of it. This is probably the first official DualShock. I was like, that's what they're selling. Like, no shade to Sony or whatever even, but it's like, no, you guys could do better.
Yeah. Well, that's true, Bobby. I'm also going to just throw out there the fact that I've been refreshing Ami, which is a Japanese website, all day, just waiting for them to put up that controller so I can buy it. So,
oh really?
I am that target demographic.
And I was like, I'm torn on it. Like it doesn't really scream Final Fantasy. Like what's telling you it's a Final Fantasy controller? Like much. The God of War one, you had the wolf and the bear. That's cool. And then you had like, there's a couple of ones. I think there was like remember there's an Uncharted controller. Like there were specific controllers made for things. And then this one is just like, it just seems like a phoned in bundle. It's
just got a bunch of runes on it. You're like, oh, I guess these like magical circles and stuff are supposed to mean Final Fantasy. I guess that's a thing.
That's exactly it. Like honestly, they have the console's huge. Like the PlayStation console's huge. So like they could have put like a custom like brilliant design on it, and I really thought they would. But this, like the PlayStation 4s and the PlayStation 4 Pros, like there are some iconic bundles you could have bought, like the Destiny ones or the God of War bundles, the Spider-Man. Like that's what I wanted. I wanted something that actually screams like, "Hey, this is a themed console. Like here's what we're selling to you." Mm-hmm. But that's cool. I mean, whatever. To each their own. Like, I'm no shade. I mean, it's just like, I expect more.
But we're going to move on. We're going to do quick lap news stories. This is a segment where I'm basically run through some news stories quick. And then Bobby, if you want to chime in about any of this stuff, let me know. And I'll chime in about a couple of these things. First off, Aliens Dark Descent has a release date. It'll launch on June 20th. This is like the real-time tactical Aliens game. Looks pretty cool. Like they released a new trailer for it, and I'm kind of interested in this one. I like Aliens a lot, so I'm actually excited.
I saw the trailer. It looks cool. I mean, I'll obviously check it out. I'm not opposed to playing any game. If even one trailer pulls me in, I'm down. I'll be there day one. I'll play it. But yeah, Aliens, there should be more Alien games out. I mean, I haven't seen a good Alien game since, I think, what was the one they did with like the co-op game a couple years ago?
Oh, Fireteam Elite.
Yeah, I like that game. I wish there was more games in the universe. I wish there was more games based on Prometheus, like that kind of stuff. But hey, no, it's cool. I'm down. Yeah. June, you're gonna be a busy month, so good luck, guys. Yeah, it's gonna be it's launching 2 days before Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah, I was gonna say that this seems like the roughest window for that. Like I'm excited for it, but it's also like maybe I'm not playing that one right away because all my time's just gonna be swallowed by Final Fantasy and Diablo in June. I'm not even gonna pretend like it's.
I won't be sleeping in June. Yeah, so
I don't think many of us are.
Sorry, future me. You're not getting any sleep. Sorry.
You're no sleep till July at this point. But moving on, Division 2. It's not getting a current gen version. After all, they announced that there was a Series X version coming, and they confirmed that there actually is not one coming after all. So we're just stuck with last gen. They don't want to leave last gen behind, apparently.
I don't know. I think they should. It's time to abandon last gen. Like we've had 3 years of these console generations and we've done nothing with them yet. There's been no true game outside of maybe like Rift Apart or Returnal that's kind of pushed it. Yeah, sorry. Like I love PS4 gamers and Xbox gamers, but like guys, I mean, it's not you're holding us back. It's just like, I mean, it's just like the technology's advanced past that point. Like it really isn't pleasant to play on those consoles anymore. I've tried to go back and just to see how it is, right? And it's like, I can't. It's too painful.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think, yeah, it's weird that they're kind of like that, but especially because you could have used the excuse of the supply chain of the consoles for a while now, but at this point, that's done. At this point, we're kind of good. The consoles are kind of out there. I can go on Amazon right now and get a PS5 or a Series X, no problem.
You could go and walk a store and get it if you like. That's the best thing. I went to Walmart and I went to Best Buy and I was like, whoa, wow, they actually have the consoles in stock. You could just walk to the counter and say it. I want a console.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's not just the last gen versions. I mean, to be realistic, it's probably Ubisoft internal issue with probably the employees, and just like they don't have the manpower to do it anymore. So I mean, they're probably spread out thin on different projects. There's still the Avatar game that everyone's working on at Ubisoft, which I'm pretty sure is high priority for them because I mean it's been delayed 3 times and it should have been out, and it's supposed to be like the next big MMO. So I mean,
yeah, between that and then Division Heartland, which is apparently supposed to be coming soon too, which is the free to play Division game. Like I think that's kind of where their mindset is at that point. Even though they just announced a bunch of new Division 2 content is coming. So I mean, it's not like Division 2 is not getting support at all, but yeah, it seems weird.
But it just feels like they dropped the ball on this. Like there was definitely, I know if it was on current console, I would have played it. I probably would have gone back. But at this point, it's like I don't want to install the old version, and it's not optimized on my controllers and my console. The load times are abysmal. Like that's what kills me. Any game from the previous edition, it's just the load time that I can do with. I don't care about the graphics. It's the load times that have spoiled me.
Exactly. And it always hurts when I go back and play the backwards compatible version of Ninja Gaiden Black, because I don't know if you've played that before, but if you play the backwards compatible version of Ninja Gaiden Black, sometimes even though the Series X will load the game instantly, you have to sit through a mandatory 3.5 minute load screen. Just cause. Because
that's why I dropped it. That's why I was like, I can't play this. Yeah. I love Ninja Gaiden Black. It's such a perfect game to me, but load times have changed, and it's made me a little bit snobby. Sorry, I mean the truth is, I mean I don't want to spend 2 minutes waiting for a loading screen anymore.
Yeah, just cause anyways. But moving on, Diablo 4 is getting another open beta on May 12th to compete with Zelda, I guess. I loved the Diablo 4 beta. And
best beta I've played in years. Fantastic. I'm looking forward to it. So, I mean, the stress test is cool. I'm probably going to try Necromancer. That's the only class I haven't done. But like, yeah, great. I can't wait. I mean, we're literally a month away from a brand new Diablo game. Like, this is pretty big.
Yeah, and there's more unlockables to get too with this particular beta. So that's the main reason I'm going back. It's like I got to get all the other cosmetics they're going off, and because also I just really like the beta a lot before. So I'm excited for it, despite the fact that again it's the same week as Zelda. So it's going to be tough to justify it, but it is what it is.
And last but not, a couple hours.
Yeah. Exactly. And then last but not least, I had to throw this one there. This is a Ryan Turford story if I've ever heard one before. Atari has purchased Accolade, as well as a bunch of old PC IPs, which means that if we ever want a new Demolition Racer, Hardball, or Bubsy game, we'll need to talk to Atari about it. Just like, why did they go out and buy Bubsy?
It's such a weird headline. I actually posted about this last week. It was like Atari bought all these. They bought like over 100 properties from the 80s and 90s, and like, I think I want a new Bubsy game. I want to remaster Bubsy 3D, and I'll take it right now. I mean, Atari, if you're listening, please give us more Bubsy.
Actually, believe it or not, I actually think that Bubsy 3D, or even just the original Bubsy or Bubsy 2, way better than those new Bubsy games that they made. Because remember, they had those 2 PS4 ones, and those games were awful.
I don't acknowledge them anymore because I actually returned it. I was like, nope, can't play this. This is abysmal. But like the original Bubsy, I remember as a kid being like one of the funniest games I've ever played, just because I was like so new to gaming. I thought this was a great idea. But hey, Atari, please.
I'm actually kind of surprised they never went back and did like a Bubsy collection of the old Bubsy games, or just put them on Switch Online. Like that's one of those games I could actually see just popping up on Nintendo Switch Online update one day. Bubsy 1 and 2. You can play them on your Switch in the SNES Classics.
I thought they were, because I remember a couple years ago, like Bubsy was back on the news. They had like the mascot back, and I was like, maybe there's going to be a collection. And then we got some new game. Maybe that's what it was. But
yeah, it was a new game, which was not good. So
I mean, I forgot about it, so that tells you exactly how good it was.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, let's slide into cruise control. We got a couple cruise control topics this week. First up, Sean and I made an agreement on this show that we would not talk about the Activision Blizzard deal on the Xbox Drive unless something significant happened. And folks, this week we got some significant news this week. The CMA has officially blocked the Activision deal in the United Kingdom. Microsoft is allowed to appeal this decision, but basically the appeal process takes about a year or two to complete. And then by the time the appeal process is complete, if Microsoft wins the appeal, it doesn't overturn the decision. Then the CMA goes back and looks at it again and then decides from there. And then if they decide, hey, that this deal is still not good, they just block it again, and that'll be it. That'll be that. This also kind of tees up the idea of now maybe the FTC and the EU maybe looking at this case as giving more kind of ammunition to maybe the FTC's case of maybe blocking the deal as well. But Bobby, this is kind of a huge story in Xbox. Obviously, the Activision Blizzard deal, people are kind of sick of it at this point because it's been going on for a year and a half. But I want to know what you think about this, and if you think the deal is done, if you think it's still if they're gonna, if it's worth fighting for. What do you think?
First off, I'm just tired of this deal. Like I'm over it. I need it to end. I think we all agree on that. It's been almost 2 years of this back and forth between different countries and Microsoft and Activision. I don't think it's gonna just stop in its tracks. There was actually an update. I think this afternoon. Apparently, Microsoft put out a statement saying basically. I'll actually read it out to you. It says, global innovators, large and small, will take note that despite all rhetoric, the UK is clearly closed for business. And basically what they're saying is they're going to proceed with regardless of what happens in the UK, because, they still got approval in Saudi Arabia, Brazil, Japan. Their biggest hurdle now is North America, and I don't see that stopping here. So really, it's probably going to go down. You'll see countries not getting the benefits of this deal. Mm-hmm. They'll probably have to do imports. So that's probably what I'm thinking is going to happen.
Yeah. Or likewise, they could do something where a third party publisher publishes Call of Duty in that region, as an example. Just like how Call of Duty in Japan currently is being published by Square every single year. It's not published by Activision at this point. That's the thing. It really just depends on what happens with the FTC at this point. Because actually, I'm going to bring in the Muffin Mon, Kevin Ainsworth from the Discord, who had a question for us, who asked, curious if you guys think it is time just to throw in the towel on the Activision Blizzard King deal. Personally, I don't think another year or at least of fighting is worth it for Xbox. It just seems like a lot of manpower that they could just use to buy the Crash Bandicoot IP and just call it a day. Yeah, Kevin, they're not going to do it that way. I feel like it just depends on what the FTC says, because I think their statement, like their closing, has to be sometime in June. So we have to hear what they have to say about it. And if the FTC approves the deal, then you're right, Bobby. I actually think that they'll probably just stick to their guns. And if it doesn't get approved by the UK, then it is what it is. Like that's exactly they won't sell the games themselves in the UK, and they'll just go about their day and actually get the deal through. But if it doesn't get approved in the United States, then I actually think Kevin has a point where at that point you might consider just walking away from the deal, because it would cost Microsoft $3 billion to give to Activision, but it might be cheaper for them to do that versus fighting for it in court for a year and a half just to have it turned down again.
That's exactly. And if Phil Spencer or Satya Nadella are like, we don't want to do this deal anymore, it won't hurt them in the long run. This will probably hurt Activision way more than anything, because they're the ones who are going to have to deal with the fallout, not Microsoft. Anything that happens after this, it's going to be Bobby Kotick on the line and his board, and they're the ones who are going to be cleaning up the mess. And honestly, I think that's okay. They deservedly need to clean up their mess anyway. So if they're stuck out with the Fallout, cool. Microsoft will be fine. It's Microsoft. They can make these kind of big gambles and walk away with them.
I would be more worried
they're
about
Microsoft.
I would be more worried about Activision with their stock price tanking, and the reason why they wanted to be acquired in the first place was the company was in trouble. So I don't know, like the $3 billion cushion will be nice for them, but I do think they'd be they have the most to lose out of anyone in this deal if it doesn't go through. Yeah,
it just needs to end. I know these things obviously take time. Like lawyers cannot push these, but it's like a walking time bomb. I think it's just the longer this goes on, you're gonna see some toxicity in the community. You're gonna see online just people going crazy and losing their minds over the deal, which I'll never understand because it doesn't involve them, one, and two, like really it makes no difference. So I don't know. It's just a weird talking point these days. It's like a loaded question. Is this deal gonna end? When's it gonna end?
And we're not lawyers. We're not gonna pretend to be. So like we'll just assume it'll end at some point, hopefully, please.
Hopefully it ends with the right people in the right positions leading the company to what it could be. Because, I mean, Activision has some great talent there. To me, it just, from what I've read and seen, it seems like they're shackled to games they don't want to do and things they don't want to make. I mean, look at Vicarious. They basically, were dissolved and they started working on Call of Duty and StarCraft and World of Warcraft. Like they started doing things that they weren't known for, and like that's a shame because like really, at one point Activision had some incredible IPs, and now they're a one-trick pony. It's either Call of Duty or Overwatch. That's their two big games. Yeah, and every 2 years there's a World of Warcraft expansion, so there's that. But beyond that, you're right. They don't really have, like, every once in a while you'll get like a game like Crash Bash that's coming out in June, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
If you haven't played the beta, fantastic beta. I'm actually surprised it's way better than I thought. So yeah, I mean, there are instances of some expansion, but like, I mean, Activision used to sell some really great games. Like they've fallen off the horse, to me at least.
Exactly. I mean, they're responsible for half of Atari's games on the 2600 library.
Exactly.
Like that's how many different IPs they have in their treasure hold that they're not using. Like they're kind of like Konami in that way, where Konami has all these licenses, but they just don't do anything with them. And Activision's kind of like that too, where they have the license to so many things and they just don't do anything with them. But I Can't See comes in with a late question they ask, since the Activision Blizzard deal was blocked, do you think they go after another studio? If so, what are the best candidates? So again, even though it's blocked, as we kind of talked about, that doesn't, mean that the deal's necessarily over. But if for whatever reason they were to walk away from this, who do you think that they would target for acquisition, or would they actually go out and try and acquire anyone after this? What do you think?
Realistically, yeah. It's Xbox. Their whole thing is acquiring. So I mean, if they were, my prediction would be something like Bandai Namco, Koei Tecmo, two Japanese publishers that are probably doing the best they've ever done so far, and like that's the only market they haven't been able to conquer properly. I mean, the proof is in the pudding, right? There's no console sales. I mean, it's just like it's not a brand that is synonymous with Japanese culture. So I mean, I think it'd be something in the far east, just something unexpected, because like those two are probably my two top picks for being acquired. I mean, they're not huge, but they have enough to offer. I mean, obviously, like Elden Ring. Can you imagine if that became an exclusive on Xbox?
Yeah, or even if it wasn't exclusive, like what if it was in Game Pass?
Yeah. That's what I think. It would be something like that. They would look at what's happened in the past, like the last 3 years of Bandai Namco or whatever, and I would say like, hey, I want them. They clearly know what they're doing, and they have support of some of the biggest Japanese developers, like FromSoft. Like if they had Armored Core on Game Pass the day one, that'd be huge.
Yeah, I actually think
Koei Tecmo. Like then you have them. You have like I know Wo Long was on day one. I believe it was on Game Pass on day one. Yep. Yeah, so like if they're like, we're gonna have Neo 3 and it's gonna be on Game Pass day one, or we're working with Koei Tecmo's working with Square Enix on an exclusive Final Fantasy game that's coming to Xbox Game Pass. It's like I can picture this happening, And it wouldn't affect Square because I know Square's kind of got like an issue with, or I don't even want issues. I don't want to say issue. I guess they're not too fond of Xbox at this point. I know they have a really weird release schedule. Some games don't even ever make it on Xbox, but like I could see Koei Tecmo being like the third party, the bridge to bring Square to Xbox because they have such a great relationship as it is.
The crazy thing was when we looked at last year, like we actually got really good support from Square Enix on Xbox. It just this year, it's just basically been a ghost town. Like Theatrhythm or Octopath, like those should have been on Xbox. I don't know what they were doing over there, but
yeah, it doesn't make sense. And I know people still want Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's like I know that Square probably have a long exclusivity deal, but that would bring a lot of people to the console.
Yeah, I think so too. But I mean, I personally look at it differently where I don't actually think they go out and buy a big company. I think maybe what they would do instead is take the money from the Activision Blizzard deal that they were going to commit to that and then use that to maybe acquire some smaller companies, maybe some independent companies like they did in the past, like more of the type of size deals as like In Exile or something like that. But then using the rest of those funds to get brand new, like day one games on Game Pass or games exclusively on Xbox, like trying to play Sony's game of playing the exclusive game because, you know, clearly that's the game that Sony's playing and they need to, you know, if they want to compete with Sony and they can't compete on a large acquisitions level, then maybe that's the method of attack is throwing the money at exclusives or just Game Pass day one deals for every game that's out there at this point.
I think that's a better option. I mean, monopolizing the industry is a bad idea. Having 2 or 3 companies owning the majority of the game studios is a bad decision. I really hope they don't do that. I mean, what they've done with Bethesda is I don't know. It left a sour taste in my mouth. Like I think it really made me hesitant to support them. I mean, I still like their games. Like I obviously would love to play them on day one, but it's just like,
yeah. That's why I think like the better approach might be not exclusive stuff, but maybe just make everything, try and make as many games as possible day one in Game Pass in the industry.
You can throw money at a problem; it won't fix it. Yeah. I don't care. That's my thing. Is I don't care how much money you have, but like you can only go so far with money. Yeah. You need to have the creativity. You need to have the people that want to make these games. So it's like having unlimited funds means nothing when you don't have the creativity to support it. That's what Xbox's biggest problem is to me. They just don't have a clear path to the next 5 years, to me at least. I mean, that's just my opinion. Obviously, I mean, I could be wrong, but from just looking at what they've done the past 5 years and their output, it's like they're creatively. I can't even talk today. Creatively, I can't. I'm struggling today,
or something like that.
Yeah, they're bankrupt. It's been a long day. They're bankrupt in that sense. It's just like there's just like as much as like Forza Horizon or like Minecraft, those only go so far. Like they're great games. They're fantastic, but as a single player, third person shoot, like that's my kind of bread and butter. Like I want more of that, and like there's nothing on Xbox that really offers that. That's specifically made for Xbox. It's third-party games from, like we said, Koei Tecmo or Bandai Namco. It's nothing that Xbox has done. Like I'm still waiting on the new Fable. Like I'm sure you are. I want a new Fable. We know nothing about it. We know nothing about Everwild. It's like these games I want to know about, but they're struggling with the creative backgrounds and like how they're going to produce these games. And that's what I think they need to focus on is just nurturing these people that already have been there for years and give them the tools to succeed, which I'm sure they are doing, but it doesn't seem like it's enough.
Well, let's move away from this topic because there's another topic I want to get to before we close out the show. Canadian video game prices are on the rise at this point, and the newest example being Dead Island 2. Came out last week. You actually wrote up a whole article over at Console Creatures about this. So I encourage people to actually go check out your article about this. But Dead Island 2, 98 Canadian dollars for the regular digital version. If you want the deluxe version, it's 104.99 Canadian. It's 125.99 for the gold version. Or if you want a physical copy, For some reason, it's $10 cheaper. It's $89.98 for a physical copy. Oh my God, it's kind of the Wild West at this point for prices, and I don't get it. This is a trend that we noticed earlier in the year here at Carpool Gaming, that we talked about on a different podcast, as I mentioned earlier in the show that live viewers weren't able to hear for whatever reason, with Forspoken on PlayStation 5. That game is $93.49 for the regular version, or it's $126.49 for the digital deluxe version. Or again, you get the $5 discount if you want the physical copy at $89.98. There's also another game that actually followed Dead Island's pricing structure, which was Stalker, Shadow of Chernobyl, like the sequel to Stalker, but it actually got pulled from the store. So I can't go back and pull up the price again, but I remember it being the exact same pricing structure as Dead Island. So $98 for the regular version, and the deluxe version, gold versions were kind of similarly priced. So, Bobby, I gotta ask you, first of all, what's going on with Canadian video game prices? Is this new price point that people, the developers are kind of, playing around with? Is this kind of the new norm? What do you think about this?
It's difficult to say because, this isn't the first time we've seen this. I mean, as a kid, I remember games being priced kind of like this, where it was kind of, some games were lower priced. Like I would see games at for example, $69 for a Kirby game, and then now you look at Zelda, which is launching in 2 weeks, and it's $89. So like there's a lot of price discrepancy I'm noticing in Canada, and it's fluctuates. So like you'll have like a period of time, like I'd say like 10 years, where it's so wild like that, and then it'll kind of level off with the dollar. And then it'll go back down again, and then it'll go back up. So it's like it's hard to predict it because we haven't really seen this recently, I'd say. 2010 we were paying $59, and then 2014 it actually went up to $69 or $79, and then it went back down for a bit. And now we're at like this breaking point where, do you want to play games, or do you want to pay for rent, or do you want to pay for groceries? It's at this point where like games are unsustainable in Canada. Mm-hmm. So, it's hard to tell. And actually, surprisingly, so when you put that list together of the Dead Island games, the Hell A edition's surprisingly cheap. It's $129 in Canada, mm-hmm. and that's the special edition with like the statue and everything. And it's like, that's kind of more in line with what I would expect from a special edition and price point. But it's just unwieldy. At this point, it's like it's hard to want to buy games on day one and support developers because, you know how sales are. It's the first X amount of time where that's when the sales are most important. That's when the critical elements are most important. It's just like, how do you support that in Canada when you're out there thinking about where you're going to sleep, what game you're going to play? It's like you have to pick and choose. Yeah. So it's hard to gauge it, but like it's disappointing. I'll sum it up. It's a very disappointing thing in Canada where we're affected to this point where you have to choose between your hobbies that help you relieve your mental anguish or your stress, or whether you want to have a good plate of food for dinner. Yeah. And also, I forgot to mention as well, Callisto Protocol actually was the same pricing structure as Forspoken. Court reminded me in chat, but Callisto Protocol is another one of those games too that was also $93.49. And this is something actually, to your point, about the last price increase, the one to $79.99. I remembered when Best Buy started listing Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain was the first one I saw, with the $79.99 price point, where it just snuck in there. No announcement or anything like that. It just showed up that way. And then like more and more games started to be listed by that until they were all listing for $79.99. Because, in 2014, to your point, when it went back down again to $69, like we thought maybe it was going to stay there because that was in line with what the conversion was at the time with the US dollar. But then as the US dollar kind of started to change, that's when it became $79.99 for $59.99 United States dollars games. And actually, when you do the conversion, the actual conversion now, it is what the Forspoken price is, what I listed off. So, $79.99 US is $93.49 Canadian. So that price point makes sense if you're doing an exact conversion there rather than giving, the yield Canadian couple dollar discount.
on the conversion there, but come on, man. Especially like when games are $98 before tax, and we live, of course, you and I live in Ontario, where tax is 15%. Like that's $115 game at that point for the regular edition. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of groceries. That's how I look at it, because like really, that's the next best comparison. Is the biggest inflation is in games and in food. That's what I'm seeing. But here's the kicker: is in Canada, when the dollar is more on par with the US dollar, we don't see the benefits. It's always when the dollar is below the US. So like I've always noticed is that even as close as it could get to like even a dollar to dollar ratio, we'll never see those discounts. We'll see always the higher price. And it's always been like that in Canada. We always get shafted on a lot of things like that. And that's kind of why I miss the Best buy 2, get 1 free, the Future Shop deals. Like that was the best time where you could buy all your games for I remember buying, God, I think I bought Dead Island 1. I bought Final Fantasy 13, and they're all like $30 at the time. You had these discounts where you could buy bundles of games, and when they came out, you would pay 30% off. And now you don't see that anymore.
Yeah, like
I don't know if you remember that.
E3 time specifically being like, here's the time to pre-order all your games during E3 because you got the 2-for-1 deals and things like that. Like,
yeah, that was the best time. It was like Christmas because like, okay, well, I want all these games. I'll just check them out now, and then once they ship, I get the notification and I get the savings.
Yeah,
but yeah, you won't find that anymore. It's very disappointing to be a Canadian gamer, because like really, you're thankfully you have a lot of choice these days with Game Pass, and everyone's got backlog. But I mean, for new games, it's like, okay, you have to be more selective. Do I want to support this? Do I want to support these developers? Or do I want to go with a smaller team who just put out the same game same day? Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's a good thing in that sense where you can be a little bit more selective. But I mean, if you want to support these teams and developers, it's like, well, you can't do what you used to do anymore. That's how I see it, at least. But
yeah,
it's tough.
I Can't See brings up some points in the chat where they're talking about CD keys being a thing, which is a website that sells, PC keys for Steam. That is one of the benefits of a place like Steam, as an example, for PC games, where actually that's probably the cheapest way to play PC games or 100%. Games at this point, is because none of those games have been like are actually affected by this. Like Dead Island 2 on PC is the same as the physical version. Just to give you an example. So it is cheaper to play that games that way. But if you're a console gamer, like at this point, you're kind of priced into buying physical games. You're locked out of the savings, because you either have to pay the premium or you have to wait for a steep discount, which I mean, thankfully it happens every couple months. Like you will probably see a steep discount by, I say, even July or June. Mm-hmm. But it's like by then, like the hype is gone. Like you missed it's that FOMO of playing the game when it's out and getting to talk about it with everybody. And that's what you're paying for, is that experience. Yeah. And at this point, what we talked about Jedi Survivor earlier, like at this point, like I'm kind of priced out of it at this point, because there are so many things coming out, and it's just like, I can't afford that, because, my budgeting for games has definitely changed since this pricing is starting to pop up. So let's put it this way. So for the price of one game today, so if we pick like Dead Island 2, it's $100. Mm-hmm. 10 years ago, you could have bought 2 premium games with a plus or minus $10, like easily. I remember paying $115 for like Nier, and I bought the new FIFA in 2010, and that was fantastic. But now it's like everything's doubled in the last decade, and it's like, how is this sustainable? Like we cannot do this for a long period of time. It's not going to work. Yeah. And to your point, like you're right. Like when the Canadian dollar kind of comes around, like that price is not going back down again. Like they're not going to lower the price for that. Like that never happens. Will never. Like we currently in Canada, we're also facing like huge inflation on groceries, as an example. And those high prices are never coming down again. Like at this point, like those are the prices we're just going to kind of live off, because they know people will pay them at this point. They have no choice, and that's the problem in Canada. There's a very distinct lack of choice, but I mean, really, best we can do is just support the developers you want, and then that's pretty much it. Wait for a sale. Yeah. So like, I'm okay with doing that. I mean, yeah, same. I'll be there day one for the people I support. Like Square Enix, I'll be there for Final Fantasy day one. Mm-hmm.
I can wait. Like, I'm playing Jedi Survivor. If I wasn't reviewing, I probably would have waited for a sale. So that's what I'm saying. It's like pick and choose your battles on this one.
Yeah. And likewise, I'm more likely to buy a Nintendo Switch, first party game day one simply because they don't put those games on sale. So I know that it's just going to be that price no matter when I buy it anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
A game like Jedi Survivor, in 3 or 4 months, I know it'll be close to half off.
Oh, or you'll get it for a fraction. I think I picked up Fallen Order on Steam for $4.
Yeah. I've been seeing that making the rounds. Yeah.
That's exactly it, right? So like I may have bought it at console on launch, but like if you're a PC gamer, you're benefiting the most out. You'll buy whatever games you want for pennies on the dollar on CD keys or Steam sales, and that's why I think PC is like probably the premier place to play these days. And I'm a console gamer, so like me saying that means it's true.
Yeah, it hurts. It hurts to say it.
It hurts to say it, but it's true. Like you're having a Steam Deck and a PC. Yeah.
To be fair, you do have a pretty sizable investment as far as actually buying the PC itself. But once you're in that ecosystem, you're definitely right as far as you actually save that money on the back end with the games themselves.
You can do a lot more with the PC, so it's not just games you're playing. Like you build a good PC, like you're future-proofing yourself for like 10 years at some point. Like I mean, my computer is about 8 years old and it's still good. It's just if I swap out the graphics card, it could last another 5 years. Yeah,
exactly. Well, there we go. We've officially turned the Xbox Drive once again into the PC podcast. This has actually been a thing for the last couple of weeks, Bobby. This is kind of our unofficial PC podcast, as well as our Xbox podcast, since we don't have a PC podcast.
Yeah, they blend together, right? So I mean, Xbox PC,
exactly.
Same architecture.
I play all my Game Pass games now on PC instead of on the Xbox, which is just weird to say. All right, last question of the week before we kind of get out of here. This comes to us from Court Lalonde.
Can we just strike this one? Can we skip this one?
We at Carpool Gaming always read off and answer the questions that we receive. Court Lalonde asks, what is better than pecan pie? Court, you know what the answer to this question is? Literally anything in the world.
Yeah, because it's trash tier pie that only belongs in the garbage.
Yeah. I don't think
you know what's better than let's give him a true answer though.
Yeah.
Pineapple pizza is better than pecan pie. Like there's no doubt.
Whoa. But pineapple pizza is not good.
No, it's the premier Canadian pizza that was created by a beautiful Greek man in London in 1962. And that's slander. I'm sorry, listeners and Court. You're wrong if you agree with Court. It's just the fact that I'm spouting today. It's just pineapple pizza is heavenly.
No, so here's the thing. First of all, I can get behind you on the pecan pie thing because even though I don't eat pie currently, because I don't, eat sweet stuff right now. If back in the day when I ate pie and I tried a bunch of different pies, you better believe that pecan was probably one of the worst pies I ever tasted back in the day. I don't think it's the worst pie out there because I think rhubarb pie, for example, is probably worse. Or I like that less than something like pecan pie. But I definitely think pecan pie, not a great type of pie. Definitely. If
you put a gun to my head, I would eat neither one. I would just say, just do it. Just get it over with. Because I'm not doing it. And to Court's, I don't know. I don't want to say to his favor. He usually has good taste, but this one he's completely wrong on, and really. Yeah. I'm sorry, Court, your daughter, you can't teach her that pecan pie is better than pumpkin pie or apple pie. There's just no question. And do better. Please do better with what you're doing. Because I'm disappointed. There's
a reason why pumpkin pie and apple pie are staples. It is what it is. It's American pie or apple pie is an American classic. But I will say I don't agree with you with pineapple on pizza. But you know what? I'm not going to be like Steve Vegvari, who wants to shame people who like pineapple on pizza. I will say, I respect the fact that you like pineapple pizza, and I'm okay with it, despite the fact that I don't like it.
It's not for everyone, but it is for me. So I mean, I will shame you for it. I probably will shame anybody who doesn't like pineapple pizza. I'm with Steve on that. I'm at that level where I'm going to shame you. So shame on you guys. Shame on all of you because it is the best pizza you'll ever have. And if you go to a place like Panico Pizza, you'll probably have one of the better pineapple pizzas in the world.
And that was the last time Bobby was on the show. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Oh, God. Anyways, that's gonna wrap up the show tonight. But Bobby, again, huge thank you for joining me tonight, man. I really appreciate you hopping in the car with us. Once again, tell the folks out there where people can find you on the internet, my friend.
You can find myself on Twitter, Instagram at B Pashalidis, and you can follow Console Creatures at Console Creature on Twitter and Instagram, because I couldn't afford the extra S at the end, because that's just the way it is. I mean, my name pretty much ran out of Console Creature. Sorry, guys. But yeah, we're everywhere. Listen to our podcast on CreatureCast and check out our articles. Like, we got some pretty good stuff coming up pretty much every day.
Nice. As for me, you can find me on Twitter at Ryan Turfer, and you also find us on Twitter at Carpool Gaming, on YouTube at youtube.com/Carpool Gaming, and on podcast services around the globe. Don't forget, of course, to come back this weekend for Carpool Gaming Days. It's going to be awesome. I swear we're going to have some amazing things. I mean, y'all don't even know. Y'all don't even know yet. There are so many things that we're not even announced until Saturday and are going to blow y'all's minds. So make sure to come back for that. So, for Bobby, I'm Ryan. This has been episode 288 of the Xbox Drive. Only 12 more episodes until episode 300, and we're out. Good night, everybody.